Now to our nightly Commitment 2010 coverage, and we're continuing our look at the race in Kentucky to replace Senator Jim Bunning. Tonight, Republican Rand Paul. He's a Bowling Green ophthalmologist and founder of the anti-tax group Kentucky Taxpayers United.
What do you do?
I'm unemployed right now. Yeah, I used to work in transportation.
Campaigning at this Perkins restaurant in Highland Heights, Rand Paul looked this guy out of work in the eye and explained why he doesn't believe government ought to give folks a free lunch.
Government doesn't create jobs, private entrepreneurs do. So I want to shrink the government's pie, and I want to make the pie of private industry and private enterprise bigger.
Paul thinks this recession was created by career politicians in both parties who got into bed with Wall Street, lowered interest rates to nearly zero, and urged folks who couldn't afford them to buy homes. What's worse?
They're doing exactly the same thing right now.
Instead, preaching what he calls tough love, Paul believes no business is too big to fail.
I think bailing out the banks was a mistake, and a lot of Republicans voted for it.
Paul also wants to scrap the current income tax code that he calls corrupt and replace it with a national sales tax.
I would support any tax reform that'll lower our overall tax burden. But to do that, we also have to agree to cut spending.
So Paul also opposes lawmakers slipping earmarks into bills without votes, even if they're for popular projects like replacing the Brent Spence Bridge.
You know, they can bring home some of the bacon. They'll also tell you they'll cut your taxes too, but then the deficit's just worse.
Like his Republican rival, Trey Grayson, Paul believes the Democratic health care plan imposes too much federal control. The two also want more oil drilling, nuclear power, and coal production, although Grayson accuses Paul of being a late convert to coal. But then Paul accuses Grayson, a former Democrat, of being a late convert to Reagan conservatism, comparing Grayson with Arlen Specter.
He was a Democrat, then he became a Republican. We had him for 30 years, and he voted with the Democrats most of the time. And now he's back with the Democrats.
By contrast, Rand says he's always backed his father, Congressman Ron Paul's libertarian opposition to big government, largely embraced now by the Tea Party movement.
And I think I'm lucky to be part of the tidal wave that may be coming forward with new people who are not career politicians.